Hey everyone, it's Prairie Nano Reef here, back with a update on the Fluval M40. I'm sorry it's been so long since my last update. I wanted to get one out for a full year, but things just got busy and, well, here I am. So, I wanted to start off with the corals. Over the last year and a half or so, I've just been letting the corals more or less grow naturally. I wanted to see how everything would kind of, coexist in the tank, and I found some interesting results in doing that, and I think it's just about time to do some major fragging in the tank to clean things up and let things start expanding out again. So the hammer, since my last video, it has slowly begun to stretch a little bit. The pulsing xenia at the top of the tank has grown quite a bit, and it's been shading the hammer, so I plan on cutting back some of that pulsing xenia to give the hammer all of the light that it needs and get it back down to its normal size. It hasn't really grown, which is good. That's exactly what I was looking for. It's a wall hammer, and I wanted a coral there that was going to be quite a slow grower, but it's put on a little bit of size and it's really healthy, so I'm happy about that. The pulsing xenia has done really well. I'm really lucky. It pulses really nicely in my tank, so I know in some tanks it doesn't pulse, but like I said, I've been fortunate that it does in mine. It started with one tiny little stalk at the very bottom right corner of the tank, and it's just kind of exploded over the 4 or 5 years that it's been in there. Oscar, the Darwin Ocellaris, he absolutely loves his pulsing xenia. He spends all day long swimming around in it, and it's kind of a spot that he can get away from Chico, the orange Ocellaris. The zoanthids have done really well. This is where I was really surprised. They have exploded, and they took hold on the glass of the aquarium and have just kind of grown down the side. And I didn't really know if I wanted to stop them or not, but I thought I'd let them continue, and it's been really neat to see them do that. I haven't seen them do that in anybody else's tank, but if you have seen that, please let me know. It'd be interesting, because I just didn't expect that they would thrive there. The jack-o'-lantern Leptocyrus, it began its life in the tank under the pulsing xenia, kind of to the right of the hammer, and it was doing well there for quite a while. It almost grew off of the plug, and then the pulsing xenia expanded and began shading it too much, and it started to die back a little bit, so I did end up moving it to the left of the tank on a frag rack, and it has really loved the spot there, and it's now off of the plug and doing really well. So I've been happy. It's the brightest coral in the tank when the actinics hit. The Montipora, it's always been a really slow grower in the tank, but the last maybe 4 or 5 months it's exploded, and it's now reached the surface of the water. So I think it's time to frag it back and open up some more water flow there. But I do like the red color it has. It's a nice deep red, and it kind of complements the GSP in the background. So the GSP, I was really happy with this. I mean, before I put the GSP in, the tank was it had lots of kind of those purples and pinks and reds, but it didn't have very much green, so I wanted to brighten things up a bit and kind of change the monochrome pinky purple theme of the tank a bit and add quite a bit of motion, and it's done exactly that. The only problem is that because it grows so fast, I always find myself having to trim the GSP out of the overflow to keep the water flow stable, but I guess that's a pretty good problem to have, so I can't complain too much. The A cans have done well. They started with 3 heads and some new growth when I got them, and they've now expanded and it's 14 heads and looking nice and healthy. I feed the tank reef roids maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, just enough to kind of keep everything fairly healthy and happy without polluting the tank too much. The only casualty I've had since my last update was the candy cane coral. It was doing okay, but it hadn't really put on much growth, and then it began to die back a bit, and I couldn't really figure out why that was, and one day it was just, it had just fully died back, and now the zoanthids have climbed up and they're growing all over it, so I don't know, it's kind of made like a tree structure for the zoanthids, and I guess one casualty over the last year and a half isn't too bad. So that brings me to the stars of the tank. I've got 2 clownfish, a Darwin ocellaris named Oscar and a normal ocellaris named Chico. And I've had them for 4 years, and they've got quite an interesting story behind them. The 3 of us have, well, we've had a pretty interesting run of things, but that'll be a topic for another video. They've done really well. They're not a pair, which is one of the funny things about them, and they don't, I'm not really sure why they haven't paired or why they don't fight more, but they seem to have just accepted each other in the tank and left it at that. So I can't complain too much, as long as they're both happy and healthy. That's good enough for me. They're very interactive. I absolutely love it. They just love when people are walking in and out of the room. They have to swim up to the glass and say hello, and they like to see things when things are kind of coming in and out of the closet. That's one of their favorite things. They always have to stop whatever they're doing, and they watch and I guess enjoy the action. Chico, she sleeps at the bottom right corner of the tank in the pulsing xenia, and Oscar sleeps in the top of the tank in the pulsing xenia, and that's what they've been doing for, well, basically the entire time they've been in the tank, and it's really, really funny to see their little habits. I mean, they really are creatures of habit. And one fun thing that I get to do with Chico and Oscar is they happily accept food from my fingers, so I can get some mysis or some brine shrimp on my finger, and they'll swim up and like you're seeing right now, and they'll pick off the mysis or the brine, and it's kind of a nice bonding experience. So that brings me to the end of the update. I hope to have another update up fairly soon, rather than another year and a half from now. I'll be covering some different things, maybe a bit of the history of the tank, and talking about the stories I've had about it, because it's been a very odd tank, from the cycle to coral growth to fish and all sorts of things. It surely hasn't been easy, but I'm really happy where it is now. So thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you in the next video.